Good evening, everybody. It's so nice to be here with all of you, and thank you for taking the time to listen to my talk today. So my talk is on a survey of economics course that we offer at Youngstown State University called Economics in Action. And I've been teaching it for a few semesters now, and I decided it was time to refresh the course. And so I just wanted to share with you some of the ways I tried to do that and make it a lot more engaging and interesting for the students. So this is the short course description for Economics in Action. It's an introduction to the United States economic system and institutions through the examination of current economic problems. And notice that it is not applicable for a major or minor in economics. So this is a course that is not going to count as coursework for a major or minor. So that means that nobody is required to take this class. It fulfills a general education requirement within our social science domain, meaning that the goal is students will demonstrate an understanding of the development, diversity, and complexity of human behavior, institutions, and culture. So Economics in Action is just one course within a list of several courses that students can choose to take to satisfy this requirement. And so quite frankly, I'm amazed that we get any students at all choosing this course, given the reputation that economics has. And so I feel like these students are really special. They've selected into this course. They clearly have an interest in learning more about economics. And I felt like the current course design just was not serving this group of students in the best way possible. So I wanted to redesign the course to make it a lot more interesting and engaging for students. But I did face some challenges along the way that I identified. First of all, the students who are taking this class, it's a very diverse group of students. Our university in general is a very diverse group of students. We do have many first-time college students at our university. We do have a significant minority population, significant population who are lower on the socioeconomic ladder. We also have a lot of non-traditional students, so we have older students. And within this course as well, I have found that it can be last semester seniors and all the way down to our Ohio College Credit Plus program, where I actually have high school kids in this class. Also, this class is offered both in an online-only setting and in a traditional classroom setting. So as I was redesigning this course, I had to think about those two modalities as well. Another issue that I struggled with was the textbook for this survey of economics course. I really wanted to move away from theory and graphing in the presentation of the material for this class, and clearly I had not reviewed Dave Anderson's Survey of Economics book because I just really had not found any textbooks that really appealed to me in terms of how the information was presented. I felt that all of them were essentially a watered-down principles class, and that's not what I wanted this class to be. So we also have been encouraged at our university to really try to lower textbook costs for students. So being that I couldn't find any good textbooks that students would have to pay for, I just decided to go with a free online open access textbook for this class. So the focus of my talk and really of my project here was to redesign the online course specifically, because that's what I have been teaching primarily. So I also transitioned to that free open source textbook. And in order to supplement the material and to bring it to life, I've been using a lot of the Marginal Revolution University resources, which I have found to be absolutely invaluable, especially for this course. So in order to make this class more engaging, I also wanted to add more multimedia, which sounds like a common theme throughout a lot of the talks today, is to make it a lot more interesting to the students, connect to them on their level, make it more real world in terms of how we present the material. So I'm going to talk about some of the ways I did that, but I want to begin with EconInBox. So this has been one of the greatest things that I've encountered in terms of supplemental material for an instructor. So if you're not familiar with EconInBox, and Mary Claire, if you want to wave your, oh, right up in front, okay. So you email Mary Claire your syllabus at the beginning of a semester, and she will send you weekly emails that align with where you are in your course. And these weekly emails have links to news stories, articles. So I have the elasticity one pulled up here. We also have video clips. So these are nice short video clips that you can easily put in your lecture. And in fact, when I taught elasticity to my principal's class this semester, in my traditional on-campus class, to introduce the concept of elasticity, I used the Simpsons elephant ride clip. Very short clip, just a funny way for students to think about how elasticity is measuring how much our demand is changing as price changes. And then as we got more into our lecture on elasticity, I used those two Shark Tank clips, the pogo sticks and purses. That is an excellent example of the relationship between elasticity of demand and total revenue. So with the purses, which is a very elastic product, the sharks were recommending them to lower their price to increase total revenue. The pogo sticks, which they considered to be more inelastic, they suggested to the entrepreneur that they should raise their price. So that was a good way to get students thinking about this idea that there's a strategy behind this, right? Whenever you are an entrepreneur or you're working for a firm and you have to set prices, and understanding elasticity of demand is really, really important if you are a business owner. And just that little video clip, I think, really brought that idea to life better than I ever could have done it if I was just talking about it or writing it on a board. These emails also include links to podcasts. So really, whatever method you'd like to use, you can easily add into your course. And again, like I said, a lot of the talks today focused about the importance of adding these multimedia examples into our class, but it can be challenging. It can be time-consuming to find these clips, make sure they're short enough, make sure they don't have ads running through when you click on them, right? And so this is a way where all of that work is done for you, and it really, really is a time saver for you. It gives you great new ideas to add into your class. So again, you just email Mary Claire, get on that list, and you can be all set with that. So I use this a lot in my survey class in different ways. So I wanted to give you just a look at my Chapter 3 on supply and demand. So I have the link to the textbook at the top. So, again, this is just a very traditional textbook at a basic level for students. But then we have the Marginal Revolution University videos I've embedded into the course. So again, for those students who just have a few minutes and want to get a quick recap of what they're learning about that week, those videos are an excellent resource and very engaging for the students as well. I also have a discussion for each chapter, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. And then I try to include video cases, not for every chapter, but these are just video clips, and then students answer questions about them. So again, tying in the economic concepts into their real-world examples to help make them understand it a little bit better. So I've really tried to essentially put the examples first in this class and then kind of follow with the theory instead of doing it the other way around. And I actually don't present a single graph in this Survey of Economics class. So in the discussion board, this is where I can really interact with my students. And if you've done discussions in an online class before, you know that one of the challenges is avoiding like the repetitive, boring, exact same responses. So you have to be careful about how you craft your questions to the students so that you're not just going to get a bunch of definitions in a reply. So this is another great way where you can add in multimedia. So I have, in my first chapter, I have this video that I like to have the students watch. So in that video, it's a very short video, only about 2 minutes. And it's about how a city was struggling with the problem of pedestrians just crossing when they weren't supposed to at an intersection. It's dangerous for pedestrians. It's disruptive to the traffic flow. So they set up this kind of interactive, self-contained dance studio where people can go in and start dancing, and in real time it projects it onto the little crosswalk, so that crosswalk person starts dancing too. And it really grabbed people's attention, and all of a sudden, pedestrians were stopping when they were supposed to because they're watching this person dance on the crosswalk. So it was like just a really fun example of how we can change people's behavior, right? And what I like about that clip is that, especially in the first kind of chapter of economics, it has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do about, stocks or anything that students think economics is all about. It's about how people are making choices. It's about scarcity of time. It's about opportunity cost. It's about incentives. So in the discussion, I asked students to basically relate that video to the definition of economics and the idea of incentives. And so I have some of their responses here. I'm not sure that you can really see them, but I promise they are very insightful and exactly what I would look for students who are kind of interpreting this from an economics lens. In addition to those assignments, throughout the semester, I do give 2 podcast assignments. So my idea is to kind of do a micro and then a macro. So this is a survey class, so we cover all of those concepts. And I give students kind of free rein to choose their own podcast here, just with some suggested websites. And so I'm teaching this currently in the fall, and I was really pleased with the assignments that I received for this just a couple weeks ago. Students were really using economics to explain these podcasts that they were listening to. One of the more memorable ones that I've read was a student talking about a podcast with the Button Factory and the microchips. It's from NPR. I'm not sure if anyone listened to it. And then they talked about the idea of kind of perfect competition and imperfect competition, how differentiating your product, getting a patent is going to be so important, and it's going to affect your revenue as a firm. So it was just a really insightful discussion that, again, this is a student who may have never taken an economics class before in their life. And I was really pleased with how they were able to analyze it from the economic perspective so well. And so in addition to those kind of more creative and interesting assignments, I do have your more traditional assignments. These concept checks are just multiple choice questions, just to, again, make sure that students are, watching those videos, reading the textbook as needed, and kind of understanding some of that economic intuition that goes into our discussions as well. So that was just a look at how I redesigned the survey course to try to make it more interesting and engaging. And again, if you take anything away from this talk, it's the importance of EconInBox. Again, if I can plug that, it really is valuable. Thank you.